Alright, welcome back to the channel. We've got our first full e-bike review. It's been a long time coming, but it's been a fun one to get to know. So I'll go over the specs a little bit here before we get started, and then we'll hop into the good and bad and any suggestions I have for this bike. So it's equipped with a 500 watt hub motor with 75 Newton meters of torque. Packs a bit of a punch, definitely enough pickup for what I need. 36 volt battery, 13 amp hour lithium battery, and it is removable, the key as well, which is a good little option. Also makes it a little bit lighter if you're folding it up too. It has a backlit LCD display, Shimano 7-speed gears. So it's got 20 by 4 inch fat tyres, and the foldable frame that we've got here is fairly generic, so you see that on a couple of these Chinese models. Nothing wrong with it, it does the job, feels really safe and sturdy, and that folds up to a 35 by 28 inch space. So you can fit it in the back seat of a small sedan. It's a tight squeeze, but it works. Probably not the trunk or the boot for the Australians watching, and SUV, no trouble at all. You don't even have to fold it up for that. Something I do want to mention is it is a little bit, for me anyway, it came a little bit bigger than I expected, which is certainly not a bad thing. It feels like a full-size bike, and it's got a half twist throttle on there as well. Probably all I need to do to go over the features there. The only other big feature I want to mention is the price tag, $799 US that is, which is pretty fantastic price considering those specs. Alright, well let's jump into the good. The things I like about this board, this bike, and my riding so far. The speed, it says 25 miles per hour that it can reach. I've got it set to kilometers per hour. As long as you got a little bit of air in the tires, it will get 43 kilometers an hour in my testing, and I'm 81 kilos, so probably around the average rider. The range is certainly a big plus for me, especially at this price point. I did a range test with just the throttle only, so it's absolute worst case scenario. You can always use that pedal assist to get a bit further. So check that out, but 40 kilometers range on my testing only using the throttle, so that's fantastic. The comfort is another big thing, I think. So the frames are really good size for my height. I'm 5'6", 5'7", so not the biggest rider, but plenty easy enough for standover height. I've got the seat down pretty low, so definitely if you're a bigger rider, you can easily make that fit. The handlebars are probably a little bit smaller compared to some mountain bikes, so that's something to take into consideration too. Yeah, so I found it comfort really easy. I can extend my legs, ride it like a normal bike. Another big plus for me, I found the bike really nimble. So looking at it from a commuter sort of bike perspective, riding in and out of traffic and paths, the small wheels here are a benefit to me, and the frame's I guess slightly shorter than a normal mountain bike, so I find it really easy to get in and around people and tight little spaces, for example, you know, bridges, traffic lights, that sort of thing. The fun factor, it's a really fun bike. It makes you want to go out and ride it again. The throttle at this price point isn't always there. For me, I really find that fun to jump on the bike and, you know, get a little bit of speed up, not having to pedal or time myself out. Really fun bike to ride around on. So on the note of the throttle, I find it really responsive, and it's really good to be quite precise. So going at low speeds, that sort of thing, worked really well for me. I'll talk about it in the cons, pedal assist, because I actually prefer using the throttle. I've already mentioned the price, but it's a big benefit, big mark on the good side of this bike. Fantastic price point, $799 US. I don't think you can go wrong at that price, as long as your expectations fit that sort of bracket. Alright, now we'll cover the bad or the limitations of the bike. So it is clearly a folding bike with the frame. I will show you a clip of folding it. I find it quite heavy and stiff. The mechanism itself is easy enough to use. I haven't done it a lot because it's just quite annoying to do it. So if you are looking for a bike that you can fold up and take up the elevator or whatnot every day, I'm not sure if it's the bike for you. Maybe something like the electric XP Lite. I haven't used it, but it is a smaller bike and it looks pretty easy to fold from what I've seen. So check that one out. It's foldable if you want to put it in the back of the SUV and take it to a trail to ride on for the day. And if you're not doing it every day, it's not too bad. But if you want to do that every day, I'll probably look elsewhere. I did say the range was good. However, on that range test, my battery completely cut out with very little warning. So I was going at a fairly steady pace, maybe 18 kilometers an hour, something like that. Bang, it cut off completely, wouldn't start. So luckily I was tracking the range in the background because I lost all those stats as well. So rather disappointing that happened. However, it's a bike, not an electric skateboard. You can bike at home, worst case scenario. So not the end of the world. I don't want to be too harsh on this point, but the brakes were the worst part of this whole experience reviewing this bike. It took me a while to get up and running because I just wasn't comfortable with how the brakes were performing. So firstly, there's quite a bit of brake rub. I managed to completely get rid of that on the front wheel, pretty easy. The back wheel, however, I just couldn't get that right no matter how hard I tried. Pretty sure that the disc was slightly bent before it got to me, so it seems to have gone away with a bit of riding, so not the end of the world. But the brakes just aren't fantastic performers. As I said, it can go 45 kilometers an hour, so you do want something that's gonna work. They work, but they're just good enough to get by. I would consider upgrading these if you are looking at grabbing the bike. Test them out, see how you feel. Nothing scary, but you know, they could improve there. And this last point is a limitation more than a con or anything like that. It's the hub motor itself and the way that pedal assist works. So for an example, I showed it on my first impressions video. If you are just coasting along at a couple of miles per hour and you kick in the pedal assist and you get an initial delay of half a second and then it kicks in, that can really be quite dangerous if you're around pedestrians or tight little spaces that you're trying to navigate through. So my way around that is just to turn it off completely or use only the throttle. So when you cut the brakes, or when you use the brakes, it will cut the motor, so that's a good thing. But because of the initial kick, if you're navigating, say, a small bridge, for example, it can send you going in a direction that you don't want to go. So there are little situations where it can be a little bit dangerous, and I really don't like that limitation on the hub motors, so I would just prefer to use the throttle. So who's this bike for? Well, I think anyone looking for an entry-level commuter bike or a bike to take out on the weekend and just have a little bit of fun. If you're going a short distance and you can't be bothered using the car, I think it's a great bike for that. It's safe, it holds up well. The feeling on the road with the bigger tyres, even though it doesn't have suspension, is still really comfortable. You have the option of taking a bit of air out of those tyres if you are going on rough terrain. It will increase the comfort as well as give you a bit more grip. You'll just get lower top speed and lower range. It's plenty powerful enough for people riding an e-bike, in my opinion. It gets up to that top speed fairly quickly, and getting in and out of traffic, things like that, crossing the road, I find a lot safer than a normal bike, especially having the ability to just use that throttle without having to use a pedal assist at the same time. And yeah, just on that point, the price makes it really accessible to people. You know, bikes have gone up a lot over the last couple of years, normal bikes. It makes this a really competitive option if you're looking between a normal bike and an e-bike. Plus you have that extra option of having it foldable. You may live in an apartment, something like that, where you need the space. I think that's fantastic. So finally, just some suggestions and thoughts on this one. I've ridden at 175 kilometers approximately, so I have got to know the bike pretty well. There's been no alarming safety issues or anything like that. The only thing I've found the need to replace is the seat. So I just put a $20 seat on there. It adds a little bit of suspension, which is nice for rocky trails and stuff like that where there's a bit more movement. I would definitely recommend that as one of the first things you do. Check out the seat that comes with it. It's not horrible, but you know, I do think that's a big benefit for quite a small cost. The front light is a great safety feature to have on there. You can turn it on as you're riding from the LCD display, but it's not the greatest performer in terms of night riding or something like that. So if you are planning to use the bike regularly at night time, I would consider upgrading that. If you're just riding around at dusk and you want a safety feature, it works fine for that. You'll definitely stand out on the road. Yeah, so one for Aostirmotor, I would like to see them, they make a new model, upgrade the brakes, possibly some hydraulic brakes, something like that. If you are selling a bike that goes this fast, I think that needs to be one of the features that you put some money into. So I would like to see even a slight increase to the price range to put better brakes on the bike. So one thing I want to mention is it's a bit of an iffy point, the quality control. As I said, I think the disc on my brake may have come a little bit bent, which is not the end of the world, but it is annoying for someone like me. You are spending a lot of money on a product, you want it to work out of the box. So on previous videos that I've put up, I am getting a few comments of other people who have bought the bike and have had issues straight out of the box as well, more so than other e-skate videos I'm doing. So it could be a coincidence. I'm not sure what oversight Aostirmotor actually have over the manufacturing process, but it shouldn't be on the end user to be doing that quality control when they receive the product. You're excited, you want to get it out. You don't want to have to troubleshoot issues like brakes and things like that. So I would like to see that improve. I know they haven't been out that long, so in the next generation, things like that, I hope to stop hearing those sort of comments for the most part. So in summary, great bike, fantastic price and really good performance. Definitely recommend it as best bang for buck in the area. I paid for the bike as a normal consumer and this is the one I chose based on the value. I was looking at the electric bikes, so I'd still like to check one of those out and do a bit of a comparison, but based on stats, more specs, definitely I think this one's the way to go. I have seen the electric XP Lite in person and it is a lot smaller than this and I think you would really pay for that in comfort. However, if you're looking for a foldable bike that takes up very little space, that may be the way to go. Alright, remember to give the video a like, drop your thoughts or anything, any comments below. Consider subscribing to the channel if you enjoyed the video and I'll see you soon. Thanks, bye.